Hi, welcome to my channel. If you don't know me, my name is Alex. I am a certified feline master groomer. I've been grooming for about a decade now. I'm also fear-free certified, first aid and CPR certified, and certified in feline nutrition. My channel is basically about teaching pet parents how to take care of their pets and teaching salon owners how to run a successful mobile grooming salon. I do private coaching sessions, so at the end of this video, if you realize that you might want something more personalized to your pet specifically, then go ahead and send me an email. I'll put everything in the description below, and we can set something up one-on-one. You can show me your pet, and I will send you a PDF of all of the tools and supplies that I recommend, and we can really go over how to take care of your pet specifically. So this is going to be a generalized video of grooming mistakes that all pet parents make at home. So I know a lot of people like to groom their pets at home. Grooming can be expensive, so this just kind of prolongs the grooming process. And also there are things that you should be doing to take care of your pet in between grooming sessions, even if you do only get them groomed every 4 to 6 weeks. A lot of people don't realize unless that they're told that there are things that we need to be doing. If your coat is always looking messy, they smell a few days after the bath, the brushing feels like a workout, like there's a lot of things that we can do to fix these problems. So a big misconception is that your dogs get mad at the last minute, right? Or like the groomers just want to shave your dogs because it's easy. That's not the case. So a lot of times groomers have to shave the pets or the dogs and the cats because removing the mats without shaving them is extremely painful. So you're tugging on these knots. Imagine if your hair was knotted up and you're tugging. And on a dog or cat, they can't tell you, ow, that hurts, or ow, that's painful. We're just tugging them out because we want them to look cute. So we have a saying in grooming that it's vanity, or it's humanity over vanity. So that just means we're going to care about them more than how they look. That's what's most important. So a lot of times we suggest like slicker brushes depending on their coat, or combs, because we want you to really take care of them if you want their coat long. So if you want their coat longer, you're gonna really have to keep up on that brushing and combing. So for doodles, for example, we're gonna recommend a slicker or wire brush, and you're gonna brush that coat. But the problem with that, and that a lot of pet groomers don't understand, or pet owners understand, is that you're brushing that top layer. So what you really want to do is get a comb and comb right down to their skin, because that's going to keep the matting apart. Otherwise, you're brushing a top layer and you think you're brushing and getting through the mats, but you're just not. You're just brushing a top layer, whereas if you get a comb, you can go all the way through. A lot of times, if you're really keeping up on the combing, you don't even need a brush at all. Sometimes the brush, we don't want that to damage their beautiful coats. So combing is gonna overall be the best option. You really wanna make sure you're taking care of that several times a week. And even if you're not keeping them long, it's still important to keep up on that so they don't get matted. If they have the type of hair that's gonna get matted all of the time, then you want to really prevent that, because it can be painful. And it can even be painful to shave them out too, depending on how bad the matting is. A lot of times, cats, we call them mushroom caps. So what those are is severe matting on the cats, and that's really hard to remove. And then once you remove them, it can be red, there could be like a bald spot, there could be a whole bunch of dandruff and just icky stuff underneath there. So it's so important to just keep up on this at home rather than just, 4 to 6 weeks or every 3 to 6 months at the groomer. This is super, super important to keep up on that. Pets are a lot of work, and we have to make sure that they're staying healthy and we're caring about them the way that they need. And you will notice that they're way happier. When I shave my mom's cat or I shave my dog, and I usually do that about once a month or so, their personalities change. Like, it is crazy. I notice my poodle starts feeling sluggish and tired, and really just my cat's ears in the video. He starts feeling really sluggish towards the end of his grooming sessions. And then once I groom him, he is just all over the place. He's happy. Same with my mom's cat. She's super cranky, such a mean cat. And then by the time that she gets groomed, she is happy. You can pet her and you can love on her. So it's just super important. It makes them feel good. It makes us feel good. It's just something that you need to be doing if you have a pet. And then next is bathing before brushing. the second biggest mistake is bathing before brushing out tangles. Water tightens mats. So really, you think, oh, my dog's really matted, I need to wash him at home. This is not true. Do not wash your pet at home if they're matted. So you're going to tighten those mats up, and you're not washing underneath those mats. So what's happening is you're washing that, but you're not getting down to their skin. So for example, when you take your pet to the groomer and they're matted, we're always going to shave them before the bath. Because one, we can't save their coats. They're matted, they're going to have to be shaved. So we're going to shave their coats. That way when we put them in the bath, we're actually washing their skin and that new hair rather than washing a bunch of knots. And then when you go to shave them after you wash the mats, then now they're not even fully clean because the shampoo and the water didn't get fully down to their skin because it can't get around those mats. So at that point, if they are matted, your best chance is to just take them to the groomer and have the groomer take care of it, and then you can start fresh. You can start fresh, keep up on the brushing, and really take care of them from there, and then we can keep them longer and not worry about it. Do not take the mats out yourself. This is extremely important. I know you want to. I know you want to take the mats out. Please do not. I don't care if it's on a dog or a cat. We don't say this to get money from you guys. We don't say this just for the heck of it. We say this because it's important, especially on cats and dogs too. Their skin is like tissue paper. So it's so fragile and so easy to cut. And if you don't know what you're doing and you don't have the right tools and you're just pulling a mat up and snipping it off, you will cut them. I have seen so many animals have to go to the vet's office, or they have scars or whatever the case may be from their parents cutting off these mats. It is so imperative that you do not cut these knots out yourself. Please take it to a groomer or a vet, have them cut the mats out, and then you can start fresh and make sure they're not matted. I know you want them to be fluffy and cute and long, but it's really not good for them, and you don't want to even take that risk. And now you're paying vet bills, right? You're paying all these vet bills, and now your pet is scarred and bleeding, and it's a horrible disaster. So do not cut the mats out yourself. Cutting nails too short or not cutting the nails at all. So there is such thing as a quick. So what the quick is I'm sure a lot of you know that if you cut the quick, the dogs will bleed, right? So there is a quick in the nail, and the longer the nail grows, the longer the quick grows. They say this is the quick and this is where the nail ends. So then you have this much to cut off before you get to the quick. Well, if you let this grow, then this is going to grow too. So if your dog's nails or cat's nails are so long, and you just trim them, start doing them every 2 weeks to a month, then the quick will grow shorter, and eventually your dog's nails will be as short as they're supposed to be. So it's really important to do it every 2 weeks to a month. If you're taking your dogs on walks a lot and they're filing them down themselves on like the sidewalk or something, then that's fine. But their nails should never be like tapping on the ground. Cat's nails, obviously, they're not going to tap on the ground like that, but you don't want to be able to hear them walk. You want them to be as far back as humanly possible. If you're doing it at home, I highly recommend a nail Dremel or grinder because it is so much like harder to cut them. Basically, you're not going to cut them if you use a grinder. And you'll see me talk in a lot of my other videos on how to do nail trims. There's a little black dot you're going to see in their nail. Once you Dremel or cut down to that black dot, you know to stop. I have a lot of explanations in those videos. If you have any questions, feel free to message me. But if you're going to be doing the nails, do them at home. But if you don't do the nails, these can cause joint problems. If they're walking a lot, their joints are going to get all messed up. For cats, I've seen a lot of them go in the pads. So then I go to groom the cat, their nails are stuck in their pads, and I have to cut here and rip it out of the pad. That can cause infections, health problems. They're stepping in litter, they're stepping in their urine. You don't want to deal with that. So that's super important to keep up on as well. Even if you're not getting them groomed as often, you need to be keeping up on their nails for sure. And then thinking grooming is only necessary when they're dirty, right? When they look dirty, when they're gross, especially for cats. A lot of people think that you don't need to groom cats. Cats lick themselves. They don't groom themselves. There is a difference. If you eat a bunch of Cheetos, lick your fingers, you're still going to have some residue and it's going to be sticky and gross, right? So you need to wash your hands. Same with cats. They're just licking themselves. They really need a full bath to make sure that they're all clean. I do recommend cats get groomed every 4 to 6 weeks, just like dogs. So what this does is it allows your groomer, if you're doing it at home, that's a different story. Definitely still do that. But if you're taking them to the groomer, this gives us a chance to use our velocity dryers, which spreads apart the hair, and we can see every little detail of their skin. We can see if they have fleas, if they have ticks, if they have hot spots, allergies, and we can see so many things from using that velocity dryer on their fur that it's very important. We see things that a lot of pet owners don't see because you're just at home, you're petting your animal, you're doing your things you need to do. But during grooming, we have like an inspection process. So we see so much more than you do at home. So taking your pet to a groomer is super, super important because you're not going to see the things that we see and vice versa. So it is definitely important. They're going to be more comfortable. They're going to be happier. They're going to be more well taken care of. The typical grooming schedule I recommend is always 4 to 6 weeks. But again, if you want to talk to me more about your pet specifically, your cat specifically, your dog specifically, like I said, I've been grooming over a decade and I have a lot of certifications. So I am more than happy to answer a lot of questions. I work a lot with senior pets as well. I can recommend shampoos, grooming routines, anything that you need. Send me a message. We can go over details and I can send you all the information. But yeah, I'll put all that information in the description. Make sure you're not making these grooming mistakes at home. We can help you. I can help you. Just send me a message. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you click to subscribe.